Good morning. Good morning, YouTube. It's been a minute since I did a live video. I wanted to jump on here really quick. I hope you guys all are having a good day and a good night. And actually, that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. I normally, if I have a dream about something, I normally take some time to kind of think about it and analyze it and process it and then share it with y'all. But I had a dream last night that I really feel that is going to help people right now. So I wanted to share it before, uh, even before thinking about it that much longer. So this is the last dream that I had before waking up, and what I saw is that sometimes we have emotions that are tied to specific events or memories or people, and that those emotions will cause us to get into toxic rumination. So we'll because we're feeling a certain way so strongly, we'll start going down a toxic road in the way that we're thinking about that thing, or that person, that place, that memory, whatever it is. And I teach people how to do this. I believe in it. I do it my own self, about finding the root of wherever that thing came in, of why you're feeling that way, and getting to the exact, space and place and time that that thing came in. I believe in doing that. I think that there's real reason to do that. But I also know that without professional help, and unless you have been doing that a long time, when you start thinking about that memory, that person, that whatever it is that is causing you to go down toxic rumination, unless you have professional help or you're guided in some way to do that in a healthy way, you're going to end up in toxic rumination. And that causes severe brain damage. And actually, it makes you more attached to the toxic thing, the toxic memory, the toxic person, whatever it was, than if you hadn't tried to start finding the root of it. And as I just said, I believe in doing that because I believe that there really is a reason why you should find the first entry point. Because if you never, if something makes a hole and you never close up that hole, then that hole is always going to be open. And not only that, but it's going to allow more stuff in, which is going to make that hole bigger. So there is a way and a reason to do that. But my dream, I saw actually that if you're on a track over here and you're thinking about those things that are making you frustrated or making you feel abandoned, or not good enough, whatever it is for you, whatever that strong emotion is for you that's making you get into toxic rumination in your mind and your thoughts, the easier way to stop doing that is to let that go for a second, get still, and remember like who you were supposed to be. Just shift the track of thinking about what you should be, or from like where you are right now, and remember who you are. Remember who you were created to be. Remember who you were, what you're created to do, and just think about that stuff. So instead of studying why you're kind of feeling this type of way, instead just go back to the original. Stop looking at the counterfeit. Whatever it is that you're feeling right now isn't the thing that you were meant to be. That is reminding you that that is a closed door. That feeling of frustration, that feeling of anger, sadness, loneliness, whatever it is that you're feeling, is a reminder that that's a closed door because your destiny isn't on that track. So stop looking at the track that your destiny isn't on and go back to the track where your destiny is, where your true self is. And that's the way that most people, especially at the end of 2020, are going to start thinking in a more healthy way. There is a place and a time, again, like I believe in finding out the root of why something happened, especially if it keeps happening to you over and over. If you keep having the same patterns of treatment from other people, you keep attracting the same types of people, whatever it is, you need to get to the root of that, because there's a stronghold that you've allowed and partnered with. So you need to find the root of that. But for most people, what you need to do is to stop entertaining all of the counterfeits of who you aren't, and remind yourself that there's a reason why that door is shut. By the way, in my dream, what I literally saw was two tracks, one track going this way and one track going this way. And it was as easy as getting off of that track and moving on to the other one, the one that you were supposed to be on in the first place. The things from your past, the things that aren't in your life anymore, the stuff that you can't seem to like make work no matter how hard you've tried, or no matter how hard you've invested energy, you've invested time, and all this kind of stuff to making something work. That is showing you, if it's not going to work, your destiny and everything about you is going to reject that thing. It's not going to work because it's not for you. It wasn't made for you. It isn't on your frequency. You are literally supposed to be on a different frequency, on a completely different track. So instead of looking at the reasons why you're feeling these negative feelings, why don't you just go back to who you were created to be? I've said this before in my videos, but most of life isn't about learning. The most important parts about life aren't about learning. They're about remembering. They're about remembering who you are. They're remembering who you were created to be and what you're here to do. That's the most important part of life. Most of life, you need to get back to remembering. You need to get back in touch with who you truly are. And I really believe that that's what was being highlighted in this dream that I saw, of just going on to another track. Just stop looking at the counterfeit. If you find yourself behaving in ways that are toxic to your life, that are not conducive to getting you to your goals, it's because you've allowed yourself to keep traveling down this counterfeit track. And instead of wondering why I'm on the track, just change the track. Just go on to the real track, the one that you should have been on. Remember who you are and get back on that track and start doing things that are in line with who you are. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks for your comment. Yeah, exactly. That's right. They're not serving you because they will never serve you. Those are on a completely separate frequency. And it doesn't even mean, by the way, that some of those things, some of those people, some of those situations are bad or toxic or whatever. They're just not yours. They're not meant for you. They weren't created or designed to assist you into becoming the person you are supposed to be and doing the things that you're here to do. You need to let those things go and just move on to your track. When you're on your track and you are committed to being that person, to living out your destiny, to doing what you were created to do, all of the things, the people, the resources, the knowledge that comes from stuff that you don't know about, you're going to attract all of the resources that you need to become that person, to maintain that person, and to continue developing into the person who can withstand your destiny. You will never be able to do those things if you keep yourself on the track that is just like filled with frustration because you just really want something to work out, or you really had your intentions on a certain end result for something. It's not going to happen that way. And when you can get out of thinking that is the only outcome. By the way, this is true with pretty much any kind of situation that you're facing with a narcissist, but especially if you're in court with a narcissist. We'll often think there's only going to be one way that this is settled. And if you're already in the court system, it's easy to start thinking it's going to be through the court because this is where I'm going to get justice. Somebody's going to hear my story, and then the system is going to work for me. And so often that is so not true. There's many ways to resolve that conflict with the narcissist that doesn't involve the court. But sometimes we get so fixated on a certain type of resolution coming about in a certain type of way that we shut our minds off. We shut out any other possibility where our answer could be coming from. And it's because we keep traveling down the track of the counterfeit one, where we need to shift the way that we're thinking. So instead of looking at why this isn't working or why this system isn't doing what you want it to do, especially again, if you're in court with a narcissist, I get it. Like we expect that system should do what it's supposed to do, but so often it does not. It doesn't do that. And so what are you going to do when your outcome isn't reached. This is why a lot of people end up in toxic rumination, because the thing that they wanted didn't come, and they only saw that one possible outcome. And so when that one possible outcome doesn't come, that leaves them extremely depressed and frustrated, angry, bitter, all of that kind of stuff. But instead, you can prevent that from happening, and you can also stop it from happening. So if you're already in that cycle and you can identify that that is where you are right now, and especially in 2020, get off of that track, go back to who you were created to be. Get still and imagine who you should be. Envision yourself as who you were created to be, doing what you're here to do, and live on that track. The parts of your life that need to get rooted out are going to get found out one way or the other. So you don't need to go about looking for what's wrong. You don't need to go about looking for why something didn't work out, or why that outcome that you expected didn't come. You don't have to actually go looking for that stuff. That stuff is going to get brought out simply by you walking on the right track. When you're on the right track, that version of you, that level of what you're supposed to do for your destiny, requires so much of you that all of those things that are having roots in you that aren't serving you are going to come out. It's just part of that process. And so where one process is going to find it out at the right time and make sure that it comes out, the other one is going to cause you to even find issues that aren't even there, to start thinking about stuff that isn't even a problem, but now you've made it a problem because you think it's a problem. So I hope that makes sense. But these two tracks, and especially I feel like for the rest of 2020, there's a lot of people, which rightly so, 2020 has been such a year of upheaval and change and all that kind of stuff. So rightfully so, people have been, evaluating what they're doing with their life and what needs to change and all that kind of stuff. That's amazing. That's great. But if you find yourself digging and looking for things that you need to change, or things that are wrong when they're not even wrong, go back to how you're looking at it. I did a video, I did a couple of videos on the power of perspective that talks about this. I did a little exercise in one of the videos where I had a white sheet of paper with a black dot on it. And like, the way that you look at that is very important. If you just see a white piece of paper with a black dot on it and you can't do anything else with it, that same mentality is carried forth into your life. If you see a piece of paper that is 99% blank and you could do any kind of thing that you want with that paper, that also, you see what I'm saying here? Your perspective has everything to do with it. So instead of focusing on the things that are wrong, start focusing on who you should be, on who you're created to be, on what you're here to do, and start doing things. Start thinking the way that person needs to think in order to reach their destiny. Start doing things in line with who that person is, because that person is already you. You are already that person. It just has to come out. Most of life, again, is not about learning. It's about remembering. If you could remember who you were before all of the stuff that you've been through in life, before all of the trauma and the bad things and the loss and everything else that's happened to you, if you could remember who that person was, be that person. Not to say that stuff shouldn't have happened, because I believe wisdom comes through all of that stuff that you've lived through. But if you can remember who you truly were, created to be, who you and all of the things that you're meant to do here, and start acting in line with that, a lot of the other things will just fade away naturally, because that person doesn't have time to be in toxic rumination. That person doesn't have time to wonder about why so-and-so couldn't come with them into their next season of life, or why they couldn't get into that position, even though that they were very qualified to land the job, whatever. That person wouldn't have time to invest in constantly reviewing these outcomes that you think should have happened, but they were never meant to happen, because those closed doors were pushing you deeper into your destiny and further into the person who you should become. We should be evolving all of the time. So anyway, I hope this video helps you. Like I said, I just felt like I really feel like this video will help people finish out this year different than maybe you've been doing even this year. Maybe you've been in one mode of thinking this entire year. You still have time to change and finish 2020 in the way that you want, and enter 2021 with better footing for who you should be and how you want to start your new year. So, you guys have a great Saturday. Y'all take care. Have a good day.